This very well-written book places the sisters within the context of Canadian religious, education, women's, and social history. The story is also placed within the larger contexts of events taking place in Canada and the larger Catholic Church. All in all, it is a fine study of how a religious community has ministered in Canada since 1898.
Theoretically grounded in works drawn from fields including theology and critical theory, this work raises many questions that members and friends of the congregation, as well as scholars of religion, organizational behavior, sociology, theology, history, and gender studies can reflect upon.
With her robust combination of theory, archival research, and oral interviews, Dr. Bruno-Jofre has made a major contribution not only to the history of women religious, but to the histories of prairie education, Catholicism, and feminism. Her integration of the often separated areas of education, religion, immigration, and gender is a model for scholars in any of these fields.
This is an excellent study of the work of the Sisters of Our Lady of the Missions in Canada from 1898 until 2008. It is an outstanding contribution to the growing corpus of work on female religious institutions around the world. Throughout, readers are captivated by a most engaging account of the congregation's work, particularly the embrace in recent years of eco-spirituality, the celebration of what it is to be a woman, and social justice.
I think of this new history of the Sisters of Our Lady of the Missions in Canada in terms of seeds. It seems an apt metaphor for a story about women on the Canadian prairies. It was the leadership team of Denise Kipe, Sandra Stewart, and Christina Cathro who had the seed of an idea to produce an updated history. They entrusted that seed to me. I found some people who graciously agreed to serve on a committee, one of whom was missionary oblate Sister Dora Tatro, who suggested Rosa Bruno-Jofre as a possible author. I approached Rosa with the seed of a project. Rosa accepted the seed, planted, watered, and weeded that seed with great attention, care, and scholarly rigor. The rest, as they say, is history. In this case, a history of the Sisters of Our Lady of the Missions in Canada. This newly published book will now be going out into the world and will land in diverse contexts, diverse soils. The process of sowing goes on. The theologian Yves Congar says, "The future is prepared in the waiting, when the seed, once deposited, puts forth a shoot and grows. What is essential is to have sown a seed." I believe that Rosa Bruno-Jofre has sown this seed with remarkable care, insight, and scholarship, and the result is this book.
My gratitude to all who made this book possible, to the sisters for their openness to a secular historian, and to the oblate Sister Dora Tetro, who could not participate in the video, but helped me immensely in this process. This book guides the reader through the journey taken by the Canadian province of the Religieuses Notre-Dame de Mission, Sisters of Our Lady of the Missions. It starts with the establishment in Manitoba, Canada in 1898 by invitation of the Ultramontane Archbishop of St. Boniface, Adelard Langevin, and ends with 2008, when the congregation as a whole at the international level redefined its vision and mission as the RNDM Earth Community, We Are One, We Are Love. This new vision was framed within eco-spirituality in a new cosmology, the celebration of womanness, and a commitment to social justice. I conducted archival research at the Centre de Patrimoine in St. Boniface, Winnipeg, Manitoba, at the General Archives of the Congregation in Sterry, England, and at the RNDN House in Rome. This research was funded by an inside grant from the Social Sciences and Humanities Research Council of Canada. The congregation came to life in Lyon, France in 1861 at the intersection of ultramontanism and colonialism, and was founded by Euphrasy Barbier at the time of the Holy See's anti-modernist and anti-liberal positioning. The new congregation, originally devoted to the education of young girls and women in infidel countries, carved out a space for itself in the colonial empire. At the center of its mission, there were notions of salvation and redemption that configured the other, while it also converged with the state agendas. In the field, a great deal of their work was with settlers. Barbier had developed her own religious self under the influence of a rigorous version of Jansenism, which led her to the practice of self-sacrifice and acceptance of suffering. She emphasized the negation of the self, made the congregation semi-cloistered, cultivated loyalty to Rome, and set a strong authoritarian tone with an accent on obedience and limited contact with the world. These all set clear parameters for the relational and reflective dimensions of the self. In line with this vision, she built a highly centralized, hierarchical, and bureaucratic organization. The congregation had a Trinitarian inspiration, but as RNDM Sister Susan Smith explains, it needs to be understood in relation to a Tridentine Catholicism, which institutionalized the projection of the Spirit in the progression from God to Christ to Church, the Church mediated. And it was consolidated by neo-scholasticism, thus controlling the notion of radical freedom of the Spirit. When the congregation came to the province of Manitoba, Canada, Sister had already established an international network of houses in Europe, Asia, and Oceania. Once in Canada, the RNDM soon expanded their educational work to Saskatchewan in 1905, and later to Ontario in 1940, and to Quebec in the 1950s. They taught in public schools, parish schools, private schools, and in the publicly funded Catholic separate school system in Saskatchewan. The RNDMs thus secure their own place in the educational state.